This is my 200th video on BookTube on YouTube. I'm celebrating that by talking about my dear Malazan Book of the Fallen. And I'm going to talk about how to approach a long epic fantasy series. Malazan Book of the Fallen, widely known for being not only long but complex and so on. It's a bit of an exaggeration, I would say. It depends on what fantasy you like. I've been spending the last years reading a lot of other stuff, as you know, enjoying Wheel of Time at the moment immensely. Different kind of fantasy, Wheel of Time and Malazan Book of the Fallen. However, there are links to those two, but that's another topic. I would like to present my collection to you today as a kind of celebration for Malazan was the reason I started the channel to connect with Malazan people, fellow Malazans, also to maybe interview Steven Erikson, which I've done 3 times, and also I met Inse Aslanot one time for an interview. You can find it all here on the channel. I've done quite a lot of Malazan videos. You will find them in the playlist. Just want to celebrate this day, 200th video, and want to talk to you and give you advice how to approach long fantasy series. It's easy to give up. Main 10, Wheel of Time has 14. Malazan has actually more, which you will see. I will guide you through this by showing the covers of the books and also talk about some lore. This is a restart of my Malazan videos. I hope you are looking forward to them as well as much as I do, because all the great tips you have given me, all the great advice, it has uh, increased my understanding for literature, for fantasy genre, sci-fi genre. I brought mythology into this channel and also Malazan, and now I have so much more thanks to you. So thank you very much. If you don't know what Malazan Book of the Fallen is, it's the Steven Erikson's Gardens. The Moon is the first book. It's co-written, not the book itself, the separate books by Ian C. Esselmont as well. Those two people created Malazan Book of the Fallen by playing RPG system GURPS. If you have no clue what this is about, I will just read the back of the Gardens of the Moon. The Malazan Empire simmers with discontent, bled dry by interminable warfare, bitter in fighting and bloody confrontations. Even the imperial legions, long inured to the bloodshed, yearn for some respite. Yet Empress Lacine's rule remained absolute, enforced by her dread claw assassins. Four Sergeant Whiskey Jack and his squad of bridge burners and potato sail surviving Cadermage of the Second Legion. The aftermath of the siege of Pale should have been a time to mourn the many dead, but Darujistan, last of the free cities of Janabakis, yet holds out. It is to this ancient citadel that Lacine turns her predatory gaze. But it would appear that the Empire is not alone in this great game, since the shadow-bound forces are gathering as the gods themselves prepare to play their hand. And one thing that really drew me into Malazan Book of the Fallen is the first poem, because there are poems in Malazan Book of the Fallen. No surprise for you who has started to read these books because of maybe found them here on the channel. But the opening poem in Malazan Book of the Fallen is so strong, and it echoes back to the epics of Mahabharata, for example. Mahabharata, as people say in the West, the Hindu epic. There it says that what you cannot find there exists nowhere. And that is a bit similar with this Eriksonian poem. Now these ashes have grown cold. We open the old book. These oil-stained pages recount the tales of the fallen. A frayed empire, words without warmth. The hearth has ebbed, its gleam and life sparks are but memories against dimming eyes. What cast my mind, what you my thoughts, as I open the book of the fallen and breathe deep the scent of history. Listen then to these words carried on that breath. These tales are the tales of us all. Again, yet again, we are history relived, and that is all, without end, that is all. So In the opening paragraph, we don't know who's written this. It's one book, 10 books, one book, Malazan Book of the Fallen. We get the impression that this story is about something that can be experienced again and again and again. Some kind of permanent state, but also impermanence, because in Malazan Book of the Fallen we see empires rise, empires fall, gods being born, gods being killed, ascendants arise, ascendants fall, and so on. We have this flux, this movement. Everything is in movement in Malazan Book of the Fallen. And it's in movement in a very special way. Because nothing is fixed. That is the difference. What makes Malazan Book of the Fallen stand out compared to other fantasy books out there, especially the epic classic fantasy from 1990s, and maybe in a way, this is not grimdark. It's definitely not. It's hopeful, tragic but hopeful, sad but hopeful. This is the Dead House Gates. This is the second book, and this is the my monsoon version. Basically, I was out in summer Sweden, heavy rain, had the book in the backpack, the country house north up in Sweden, and the book got bigger, so because of the damp, the humidity. No spoilers in this video, by the way, so I will only show you the covers and talk a bit about the books. In the first book we meet a lot of typical Malazan concepts that will be repeated over and over again. It's things like warrens, for example, which is part of the magic system. There are mages in these worlds and they can access warrens, and you could say it's magical portals that you can get access to by channeling them or calling to them, or they call to you. But it's also a place in the warren you can travel. So, and in the warren the things are different there. Time is different. Things look different. There might live other races in there. There are many races in the Malazan Book of the Fallen, as you know, Yaghut, Forkruz, Asail, Tila and Imas, for example, humans, of course. We are far away from the fantasy tropes, although, as I said yesterday on my Wheel of Time video, it can feel very comfortable to and comforting to have the elves, orcs, and so on. I can really enjoy that. But what I really enjoyed when I started reading Malazan Book of the Fallen is that it questioned everything of that and made it its own races, own monsters, own lore, own history that was quite unusual for us. Awareness is part of that, because we don't really know when we start to read Malazan Book of the Fallen which warren is good, bad, which mage are good, bad, and so on. And there is also a huge pantheon in Malazan Book of the Fallen, and the gods there, they are like the Greek gods, the Hindu gods, Norse mythological gods, polytheism, for a simpler word, and they fight with each other. They sometimes elevate ordinary people to something that is called ascendant, but the god can fall if he has no followers, and the ascendants can fall and they can rise. So this is not a fixed pantheon where everything is, predictable. Things change here. The third book is Memories of Ice. I think this front page at least highlights the military aspect of Malazan Book of the Fallen. You will find a lot in the second book, all books. These battle scenes that you find in Malazan Book of the Fallen, they are breathtaking. They are very detailed and very good. And every book is actually a standalone. So if you just want to read one Malazan book, you can just do that and enjoy everything. Still, without feeling this obligation to, you know, have to read all the books. But when it comes to advice to read all the books, I would say the first of all, take your time. You don't need to understand everything at once. You will not understand everything. Go for the lore you like to know more about. Go for the people. There are numerous of people here. Go for the people you root for and follow them. Um, yeah, do that. I think that's a great start. You will not be spoon-fed in Malazan Book of the Fallen. This is the fourth book, House of Chains, and the first books have many point of view characters, and we are on many different continents. I have a map here, but I don't want to spoil the map for you, so please check it up on wiki for example. The stories of single characters are very touching, and in this fourth book we get to know a guy called Karsa Orlong, and if you only have Google Malazan, you will quickly come across his name. It's a Conan-like character, but of course non-tropy, so this is not what you expect. And the destinies for people in Malazan Book of the Fallen is very tragic. And it's tragic in a way that they, like we all do actually in our own real life, don't have the um, control of what's happening. And one way to put it in Malazan Book of the Fallen and describe that is the tarot deck of dragons, which is a divine card deck, where ascendants and gods can take place, or they can be positioned within the deck to be, high king, high priest, and so on. And people just happen to be part of that without knowing that. So someone who is very ordinary, he can suddenly be an ascendant, or she can be an ascendant, or he might become, or she might become a god, for example. There are, I suppose the Elent is dragon-like creatures. We have the dragon over here, that's why I'm talking about them. And so there are classic fantasy characters and monsters in Malazan Book of the Fallen, but they are they don't behave like they do in other books. Good, bad, evil, and so on. It's not grim dark, meaning everything is depressive, everything is brutal, everything is raw, everything is abusive, and so on and so on. Now, there are obviously very grim dark scenes in Malazan Book of the Fallen, but it's balanced with the hope of the people. One of the things I think Malazan Book of the Fallen wants to tell us, at least from my lens, so this can be different from other people's Malazan lenses, that we try to find meaning in this world. We try to find a way to understand the world, and that is the people we follow in Malazan Book of the Fallen. They fight for their kingdom, or for their tribe, or for their lifestyle, or for their economic system. Even if we come to Midnight Tides here, there is a Tehol and Bug, two funny characters. We're on Lethras in this one, the continent. Seven cities in the second, and Jenabakis in the first. And Erikson is highlighting the economic system of mercantilism and capitalism and so on. I don't know how, he's very aware, so he's definitely aware of that, but I don't know how much you should interpret of that. But the books showcase different ways of living, being civilized, running a society, and so on. So this is Midnight Tides, very, very good. And one of my followers recently finished Midnight Tides. Congratulations to you. You have a lot of things to look forward to. Many of my followers are on second reread, some have started, and so on. Everything is equally good, no judgment at all. One of the books where the tribal and civilized conflicts become very clear is in the Reaper scale. And actually, this one is a really nice copy that I have. Waiting for the reread. I had a book here, Reaper scale, that broke into two. And because of that, I had to buy a new one. If you miss a book, you're right. We're missing Bone Hunters among all the books. It's in my bookshelf out there. Actually, the bookshelf became very empty when I brought all the books in here. So just a break here for you. Take a cup of tea. What are you in your Malazan journey? Have you started? Do you want to start? Or do you feel this is too much for you? Please tell me. The mentality to read Malazan Book of the Fallen is the one of a marathon. But that sounds tough, of course, but it's a very enjoyable marathon. And there is no reason to finish Malazan Book of the Fallen in a year or even 2 or 3 years. Just enjoy the ride. Many people get really hooked. Erikson has a foreword in the Gardens of the Moon where he says that people usually they quit the Gardens of the Moon after the first third or something like that, and those who stay, they stay. So maybe that's true. We also have the Toll of the Hounds. There is this connection between souls and the living and the dead. So there's a kind of necromancy things here, and this ties the Andy race with Anna Marek, which is the most famous one, and they can be portrayed a bit like dark elves. They have a mysterious role in all of the Malazan Book of the Fallen universe, and in this book, they are central to the plot. So actually, they are thick, as you know, but please don't let it frighten you. I have some bookmarks here. I made some notes on these pages, usually of lore character. So that's the way to approach the books as well, to take notes and to try to follow this up, maybe writing on your computer or in a notebook. You can use Malazan Wiki, but I'm not sure about that, because one thing with the books is that you're supposed not to be spoon-fed. So that was something that's one point from Erikson and Ian C.S. Mod too. But I was thinking about that because nowadays we have so much material and help from the internet, so we can Google everything. That takes away the idea of not being spoon-fed. So if you can, I would advise you not to Google too much. I know some of you, my followers here as well, done it too as well. But in a way, it maybe takes away the experience. But I understand that you do it because not everyone has the time to sit and think to connect Malazan philosophy. There's a lot of military strategy in Malazan Book of the Fallen as well, of course. So this is military fantasy, it's military strategy, and it's the Black Company, for example. That is one of the inspirations for Erikson and Ian C.S. Montal. We have the ninth book, Dust of Dreams, and we're on Lethery here. Can't say so much about the book, but what I can say is that it's very it's worth the time to invest yourself in many of the characters, because many of the characters are still there in the last books, and if they are not, maybe they are gods, maybe they are ascendants, maybe they are some kind of soul, and so on. So it's not a waste of time. I think in other epic fantasy sometimes the authors cannot tie the plot together, and characters are forgotten, and of course Erikson has and ENC has finished everything. They have a few books left, of course, but I'm sure they will finish that too. The last book is the Crippled God. Looks beautiful. Crippled God is the central character and is the overarching plot in a way. Malazan world is a brutal world with civil war, but and tragic life circumstances, but everything stems from the divine world. And as you might know, both these authors are archaeologists, so they have this strong inspiration from diggings they've done. You can hear a lot about that on the interview. So that was the main 10 actually. So I will just continue to because the scope of Malazan is so big, time frames. Erikson is not so keen on commenting timelines and years and chronologically. I mean, you can understand that, but not exact. We who follow and like epic fantasy, many of us want to know like when did this and that happen. When you've read the Big Ten, there's a lot of things you can do. If you want to delve deep in history, you can go back to one of the Warrens, Kural Galin, and it's about Tisti Andy and it's the Age of Darkness. This is a different style. Very important to know is that the Malazan Book of the Fallen, even though it's fantasy, it's more inspired by mythology. Iliad, Odyssey, Mahabharata, as I was telling you in the beginning. So keep that in mind. And if you read a lot of philosophy, for example, you might really enjoy Malazan Book of the Fallen because it's more into that category, especially Erikson's book. ENC is more action oriented. So you can also have different starting points in Malazan Book of the Fallen. This is part of the Karkanas trilogy. I think it will become 4 books now. And this is second, Fall of Light. This is beautiful. And this is actually, it's like when you have read the Big Ten, the Malazan Book of the Fallen, you think you know everything, as much as you understand at least, and then you start to read Karkanas, and then you realize that people who are in Malazan Book of the Fallen, they are in Karkanas, but this is like 100,000 years before. So that changes everything. That makes it up for a lot of rereads, I would say, because when these two, Mr. Erikson and Mr. Esselmont, is done with everything, that might change the perspective as well for me and maybe also for you. I will switch back to Erikson soon. I will make a showcase. I will showcase the ENC Esselmont books as well, and I will start with the Path of Ascendancy. I have to stretch myself for them, and that is the Path of Ascendancy. Actually, Philip Chase, as you might know, here on BookTube, had this idea that you can start with Path of Ascendancy. I think that can be a good way, especially if you come from maybe more tropey fantasy. This is not tropey, but it's more action oriented. It's not philosophically heavy, so to speak. So that can be a way to do that, and also this a little softer, a little friendlier. When it comes to the introduction in Gardens of the Moon, we are thrown into the civil war, a civil war situation. We don't know much. We are almost like a refugee there, not knowing. You also have these beautiful things in Malazan Book of the Fallen with the tropes, being reversed and maybe not existing at all. And then you have the, hero's journey, the magician, the wizard, the wise man, the fool, all these kind of things is turned upside down. But you also have professions like archaeologists, of course. You have historians, for example. You have all the people in the army. That usually is not highlighted because we really follow the infantry in detail, especially with the Malazan Empire, with the bridge burners, for example, and also other armies. And there is nothing in these books that has not happened on Earth. I think that is really cool when it comes to military strategy. So if you're into that one too, read those. So this is Path of Ascendancy, book one, and this is before Gardens of the Moon as well. So it's about um, um, it's about Calendar and Dancer. So can't say so much about that because it will spoil a lot of things. Second book is Dead House Landing. Looks like it. This, I think all these covers is, you know, worth to have in your bookshelf. We have the third book, Kilometers Reach, and then the fourth. There will be a fifth. I'm not sure about the sixth book. This is hardcover, so it's nice. Forge of the High Mage. So ENC, he writes a lot about a military group called the Crimson Guard. So that is not so much in Erikson's books, more about the bridge burners and all other stuff. In Malazan, all the characters, Thais the Andy and so on, the races, the folk rule aside as well. There are founding races, for example, in the Malazan world. And ENC has a other kind of scope, and he has this Path of Ascendancy, and then he has this novel of the Malazan Empire, and this is Knight of Knives. Usually, all the books, especially Erikson's, they span over, you know, many months or years, so on. This takes place during one, I think, 48 hours or even 24 hours. It's very special and it's very good. So and this one I actually bought on a book book antiquariat, means booksellers who collect books and sell used books to others, and this one is good. So you can actually find these kind of books if you search for them as well. Highly sought after, many of them. We have the Return of the Crimson Guard, so there you have it. So the interesting thing with the novels, I think, is that you follow one soldier who becomes part of the Crimson Guard, and the Crimson Guard is a very mythical army, you could say. And you also get, in Erikson's books, you have the perspective of the Malazan army, but in Erikson's books, you have the perspective when when other people, when other groups fight against the Malazans. So you get the occupied nations, occupied territories perspective of the Malazans. You'll get the two by Erikson, but Erikson, Ensiasmont reverts the scope a little bit. So it's another other kind of perspective. It's another kind of voice. That is, of course, important. Here's where I am now. I'm at Orb Scepter Throne. This is interesting because we're back in Janabekis, where we started in Gardens of the Moon in Darujistan. So this one I will tell you more about when I'm there. But as you know, I'm reading a lot of things, enjoying that, and reading should be enjoyment, and that is also key for reading Malazan. You should not force this. You should just enjoy this. We have Blood and Bone. Looks like this. Very beautiful cover. Jens Helselman told me that I would especially like this one, so I'm looking forward to read it. I'm a slow reader, so sorry, ENC Cam, not have the time to come to this book yet, but when I've done that, I will tell you more, if you still have the time, of course. There is one thing that is interesting with Malazan. It's Shakespearean style. It's a lot of poetry. We have all the mythology that is deeply rooted in ancient mythology, ancient archaeology. I think that is a bit different from some of the newer fantasy out there, which seems to be more inspired maybe by video games and maybe other fantasy books, of course. And again, nothing wrong with that. But sometimes I feel that some of the books lack that heavy depth that Malazan Book of the Fallen has. Sometimes we want that, sometimes we won't. But if we want that, then Malazan is totally unique, and it will be interesting who is next in line to follow in the Erikson's footsteps, especially Erikson's, but also ENC's. This is the last book in the novel of the Malazan Empire, A Sail. So there are all these continents here that is also different and makes it stick out a bit from other books, because usually there is one continent. Usually there is a few religions. Usually there is a few races. Usually there are a few um, reasons for a protagonist. Reasons here you have many protagonists. That is something that makes it stand out. And it's not the only book with humor, but there is a lot of humor in Malazan Book of the Fallen, and I think these two, Beauchelin and Corbel Broach, can symbolize a kind of morbid humor, but still humorous necromancy on the highest and maybe most funniest level. They appear in Midnight Tides, I think, the first time, and then they will come back in different forms, and they also have these are standalones, short stories, short tales. And that is the thing that both, I think everyone nowadays, but ENC and Steven Erikson are short story writers. And that means that we have all this perspective of POVs of characters, and we have the different storylines. There are many. But it also means that they are inspired by maybe the CRPG, I say, but the RPG, TTRPG, this quest-like fantasy where we follow groups. There are a lot of techniques how to overcome the scope of Malazan Book of the Fallen, if you feel like that. That is to read every group as a collective, not as individuals. Some stand out, some stick out, absolutely. But read them as groups. And the dramatis persona in the book is perfect for that, because there is actually this one is almost breaking this. It's almost broken. Let's see if it can stand the test of time. Almost not. But you see, you have groups like this. Actually, the mass market paperback is not, the best out there. There are now hardcovers from Broken Binding. It looks like this. The dramatis persona. So read it as a group, not an individual person. That is great advice I've used for myself. One thing that makes it stand out as well is that the origin of Malazan, as I said, we are thrown into a civil war. We are not in pastoral England. Erikson makes a point of that, in all the fantasy, readers are treated as idiots, as he writes in the foreword, and we are explained everything. There's a lot of exposition. Less of that here, of course, and less of this. Maybe I would sometimes think so too when I'm reading Wheel of Time now, and also Ryan Coyle's Bound and Broken, which I really enjoyed too. But actually, the first maybe 200 pages, also the same in Tolkien, is quite boring, because they are living in a village, there is something happening, they're going out on an adventure, and so on, and someone has a destiny, divine destiny in some cases. All this is thrown overboard in the Malazan Book of the Fallen, which I stated many times. as well. There is actually things after Malazan Book of the Fallen that you can read, and that is the Witness trilogy, The God is Not Willing. I haven't read this one yet, actually, so I'm moving backwards instead, looking forward to read it. And recently, the like half a year ago, the No Life Forsaken came out. And I also seen that third book in the Witness trilogy is listed, at least on Swedish book sites. Not sure what that means. So that is a huge, long video for being me, my 200th video here on YouTube, and like a restart for my Malazan videos as well. Trying to guide you through some lore concepts, especially words. What can I say more? I can also comment on the philosophical aspects that is important. Civilization versus tribal society, for example. That is central. The economy, the dependency people have. Why are people doing things? How do they find meaning in life? All these things are in here. That means that you can find answers for yourself, for your own life, and for your own meaning. And maybe the meaning is just to read Malazan Book of the Fallen. What do I know? So if you enjoyed this video, if you are still here, please like and subscribe. Likes is important, for it pushes the video to other viewers here on YouTube. Watch the interviews if you haven't done that on the channel. Watch other Malazan content here on the channel, and make requests on future Malazan videos. I will make regular Malazan lore videos during the coming months, so I hope to see you there, and please let me know what you think and what you want to listen to. Thank you so much if you're still here. And by the way, Malazans, they drink tea, so if you haven't done that yet, please do. Yeah, see you. Thank you.